Welcome to Wednesday on the AM show. Benjamin here, together with Bernice, of course, serving you the best of morning television. Well, we're always grateful to have you join us, accompany us over these 4 hours and throughout the day on this channel. From wherever you are connecting with us, good morning. Welcome aboard. Now, coming up this morning, the news will be served to you shortly, and right after that, you know what we do. For the news review, we'll be joined by Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He's a political scientist. He's also director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He'll be having breakfast with us this morning. And after that, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi will bring us sports, and then we get into our big stories. We'll be talking again about the Akosombo Dam spillage. It's been some 40 days, and we know what has happened in between. Academic activity has come to a halt. Economic activity has come to a halt. Everything basically in the lives of these people has been shattered. What is the way forward for them? Today we'd catalogue everything that has happened since. Our guest on that beat, Kofi Adams, he's Member of Parliament for the Buim constituency. Then from there, of course, we have AM Business, courtesy of Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank. Today is a Wednesday, and we're bringing you our latest installment of that. We'll take you to the Upper East region, Bolgatanga to be specific, where basket weavers are calling for help to increase production and market their produce to the international market. But we also have coming by on the show the Blacksmith Initiative by Pure Earth. Well, we'll learn a lot more about this initiative later on the show. And finally, we'll be hosting the sponsors of Joy News' broadcast of the National Science and Math Quiz. Today, officials of InvestCorp will join us for a breakfast. And I cannot leave you with this. It's that time of the year when you have the most scintillating music program. I'm talking about that Adum Brands Multimedia Group presented edition of Adum Praise. This is the choir edition, and we'd have some choirs serenading us, leading us ever closer to God with songs of praise and worship. So just stick and stay. We'll tell you a lot about all of this on the AM show. Well, on that note, let's settle for the news up next. Welcome on the News Belt. Let's get into our first story now. Authorities at the Benso oil palm plantation, one of Ghana's leading oil palm producing companies, are lamenting the deteriorating state of the Kijebi-Mpoho-Benso road in the western region. They say the bad stretch is affecting sales because customers don't want to ply that route to purchase their products. Samuel Kojo-Brace delves deeper into this and other challenges faced by that institution and the community it serves.
A year, the government has looked on for the total deterioration of the Kijebi-Benso road. This road, used to facilitate the quick transportation of semi-finished goods from the Benso oil palm plantation, BOP, to their clients in Tema. But today, the road has become a major headache to the company, almost grounding their operations.
For the past 2 weeks, we've not sent even a drop of CPO to our refinery in Tema. We had about 12 tankers parked here in our yard as we speak, just waiting for an improvement in the condition of the road so we can send them. We tried one this afternoon, and the results has not been quite encouraging.
100 meters distance could take about 3 minutes with trucks wobbling on the deteriorated road. BOP's estate and plantation manager, Kwesi Ba Ofori, spoke about the dire consequences of the bad road on the company.
So once the road is in this condition, we are not able to send our crude palm oil to our refinery in Tema. And it gets to the point that our tanks have to be full and we cannot continue with production. We have to shut down production. And mind you, this plantation employs over 2,000 employees, and they are all accommodated on this site. They all live in the plantation, in the estate, so the impact is quite dire. And we are talking about over thousands of farmers who also supply our mill, and once the mill is full of CPO, we will not be able to keep up with the production, and all these farmers will eventually be impacted.
BOP is not the only company feeling the pinch. Residents of the area also feel the pain of bumping gullies. Alfred has been driving on this road for 2 years. We met him repairing his broken down vehicle along the road.
This road doesn't help us at all. We suffer a lot on it. When you work for 3 days, you have to take everything you got to do maintenance. So are we progressing or retrogressing? This road is terrible. It is not helping us at all.
Alfred says vehicular breakdowns leave holes in his finances, with clients also refusing to pay more for transportation due to the current economic squeeze. The driving business is no longer lucrative.
Taxis, 30 cedis.
As soon as it rains, taxis take 30 cedis. Meanwhile, if the road was good, I'm not sure they would even charge 10 cedis. The residents here who don't have cash suffer. So imagine what will happen if there is someone who needs urgent medical attention. We plead with government to come and construct this road for us.
Several of the trucks which load Bob's semi-finished product to their client in Tema are grounded in the company for weeks because of the poor nature of the road. Driver Abdullahi Moro is frustrated.
Because of too much all the time.
We spend too much time when we come here because of the poor nature of the road, and it often rains in this place too. If the company grader doesn't pull you from this place to Kejebro, for you to continue, you can't go. Even with that, we still suffer.
All the time, no.
To him, the situation is affecting the finances of the drivers.
A financial problem.
It is only when you are able to transport the products to Tema that you get your bonus. If you are not able to go, you can't get it. So it affects our finances.
The estate and plantation manager for the Benso Oil Palm Plantation, Kwesi Ba Ofori, says the nature of the road is having a telling impact on the operations and their contribution to the local economy.
I mean, the impact is impact on even the Ghana Stock Exchange. We are quite a big company. We are making a lot of impact in the lives of the communities within which we operate. Just last year, we bought palm fruits, to the tune of over 40 million Ghana cedis from farmers. This year, as of September, we've bought over 62 million Ghana cedis. Yes, that is the kind of amount of money we are pouring in the communities. And once our product is not able to go to its final destination, eventually, if we are not able to send it to its final destination, then we cannot also continue buying from the farmers. And, the farmers will eventually also suffer losses.
Residents and Bob are all calling on government to expedite road construction.
Our wish is that the government takes it up, and we know the government is challenged with a lot of roads. There are a lot of road networks that he has to do. He's doing his best, but we think that looking at the economic potential of this company in these districts, I think it will be good if they come in to help.
For Joy News, I am Samuel Kojobrace, Benso, Western.
Well, from roads, let's talk investment. And the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, has underscored the need for Ghana to invest in infrastructure and create an enabling environment for private businesses to thrive. He says Ghana can only reap the full benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement if private businesses fully participated. He was speaking at the opening of the 3-day Ghana Investment and Trade Week in Accra.
2018, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement was established with 43 African countries as parties and another 11 as signatories, making it the largest free trade area by number of member states after World Trade Organization and the largest in population and geographic size, spanning 1.3 billion people across Africa. With this secretariat in Ghana, Ghanaian businesses are expected to reap the full benefit of the agreement. However, the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Kofi Grant, believes private businesses must be encouraged to fully participate for Ghana to benefit.
Because it was actually started as an initiative between countries, now it needs to percolate down to the private sector. AFTA is a pure private sector play, because it's the private sector that's going to invest its capital into the productive sector and create the products that we can trade amongst ourselves. Never mind the size. I mean, when you look at Africa, Africa is resource rich. 90% of the world's platinum, 90% of the world's cobalt, significant proportion of the world's coltan, not to mention lithium, copper, titanium, salt. And we need, as governments, to then facilitate our private sector participating in these larger economies, because that's the way we are going to create wealth. The private sector creates jobs. The after play is just not intra-African trade, but creating opportunity for our young people, and it mandates the governments to create space for the private sector to be able to invest, to create the bigger blue chip companies and the bigger companies that can actually exploit our own resources, add value, and trade amongst ourselves.
Mr. Grant also expressed optimism the investment fair will yield the needed result.
Definitely. I mean, it shows our ability to facilitate trade. And you know, there can't be enhanced trade without investment. Even to make the products that you're going to trade, or to have the products that you're going to trade, means that somebody needs to invest in all those products, or manufacture of those products. So somebody needs to invest in the infrastructure that would facilitate movement of the products. You also have traders who invest in their goods that are produced by somebody else to sell. So bringing together and manufacturers, traders, business people, a couple of investors, it's key to highlighting the opportunity that exists, especially under the AFCFTA.
The Ghana Investment Trade Week is a 3-day business fair organized by the GIPC in collaboration with the MIE Group. The fair aims to showcase Ghana's investment opportunities and draw attention from key source markets. Zahur Ahmed is Vice President of the MIE Group.
We're here now for our 5th year in Ghana, and our mandate has always been global trade and driving foreign direct investment into Africa and our key markets, including Ghana. So for us, the 5th edition and collaborating with GIPC is a phenomenal kind of mandate to grow. What we want to do over the next kind of 5 to 10 years in Ghana and Africa is to drive more investment into the African continent. And the theme, obviously, of the economic growth with the AFCFTA, and Mr. Kofi Grant, the CEO of GIPC, clearly mentioned, this is the future for Africa.
The Ghana Investment Trade Week features over 50 exhibitors, 100 conferences and seminars on various sectors such as construction and building materials, power, agriculture, home and smart electronics, manufacturing technology, and food and beverages. Some of the exhibitors spoke to Joy News.
We design and locally manufacture electric bikes like the bike that you see here. Our focus is ensuring that we get sustainable vehicles to delivery riders across Africa. And by sustainable, I mean vehicles that do not need petrol, that are good for the environment, and that are more affordable. So our vehicle here, you can use it for deliveries for a whole day. So you can basically ride from home, use it for deliveries in the day, and get back home on charging with just the 2 batteries. The batteries, you don't need any complicated infrastructure to charge them. You just charge them at home like you would your mobile phone or like you would your laptop.
The Ghana Investment Trade Week is on the theme Accelerating Economic Growth, Amplifying Ghana's Global Market Footprint through the AFTA. Prince Kwame Kudugai's report read to you.
Now, 38 young men and women from across the country have benefited from ECOWAS youth training on biofertilizer production and business development at the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. The training focused on building the capacity that would enable them manufacture biofertilizers that would contribute to the agricultural sector of Ghana. There's more in this report.
Director of the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research explained that this training is going to create jobs for young people in the country.
So we brought the people here to know some of the available technologies. And when you have improved your yields, what happens? You have to find alternative way of processing or add value to it. And adding value to the huge production that you've had also provides another leg of employment opportunities where people will now move into processing. So we know people, young people as they are, they have established themselves and they are processing and adding value to the improved yields that we are getting. And that's the kind of thing we are looking for. When people now take the products from the agricultural sector, add value to it, and make sure that every now and then food is available for the people. And they are able to improve on their livelihood, get income for themselves. So you are not only looking for the established white-collar jobs, you can do something.
He also observed how Ghanaians have developed taste for foreign agricultural products.
Please, nutritional point of view, focus on those that we have produced from our own environment. We have what we call the Legon one. That one, if you have opportunity, wherever you get it, please buy it and drop the imported ones. Nobody will tell. It's a market-driven thing, so we will not push you to go and buy, but test it and see whether next time when the two options are there, you would rather go and buy the imported fertilizer, rice, or the locally produced rice.
Research scientist at the Soil Research Institute, Dr. Fusaini Isaka, mentioned that the biofertilizers are going to contribute to the increase in rice production.
Ability of enhancing rice production, especially Azolla. Azolla is a biofertilizer that can be found across the whole country, and it has been tested and proven that it can enhance the production of rice. So we are trying to make this technology available to these Ghanaian youth so that they can go into mass production.
Dr. Emmanuel Dugan is also a research scientist at the Soil Research Institute.
So the government should support us and train the Ghanaian youth, right? So youth unemployment is all over. You can testify to that. And if we seize this opportunity, train them to produce in this biofertilizers, then I think, and then the material or the feed, the material to produce is abundant.
The training is an initiative of the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, funded by ECOWAS. Reporting for Joy News, Colinsia Eifa.
And our next story, the AgriMet Regional Center for Meteorology in the Sahel and West African region is supporting farmers in 5 African countries with a capacity building and other support to build their resilience to climate change. The group says the region is considered one of the vulnerable areas due to the fragility of its economy and its low levels of anticipation in the face of climate risk. Therefore, the need to position farmers with information to enable them adapt to climate change. Martina Bugri now reports.
Which started this year is being implemented in 5 African countries, including Ghana, to help farmers adapt to the changing climatic effects on their farming. In Ghana, it's being implemented in 4 regions and 7 districts. Some of the activities would include capacity building water management systems for farmers, among others. Speaking to the media at a capacity building workshop in Tamale, expert on climate change at AgriMet Regional Center for Climate Change in the Sahel and West Africa region, Dr. Gadedesua Tasua Agusu said most of the farmers do not have knowledge or information on climate change.
We realize that they are observing adverse effects of climate change on their activities, and most of them don't have access to climate information. And even if they have access to climate information, most of them they don't know how to use those information. And this is what we are we are here today to tell them and then to show them where to get those information and how to use them to plan their activities so that they can have a better productivity from their activities.
Dr. Gadede Sua said they will support farmers with irrigation systems and equipment to process their produce at the end of the project.
Yeah, at the end of the project, we would like to see farmers who have who are able to use climate information and to be able to better off their livelihood. And because this is only just an angle of the project, there are different things planned in the project like providing farmers for some equipment to process their products, and also some boreholes will be done in some communities, and then irrigation facilities also will be brought to them. So this is just part of the whole package. So at the end of the project, we think that farmers will significantly improve their productivity.
The District Director of Agriculture in the Central Gunja District of the Savannah region, Imoro Mumuni Mohammed, said climate change coupled with floods in the region has affected hundreds of farmers and appealed for digging of dams outside the area to resettle the farmers.
The district per se, the district capital and its surrounding villages, the river and the rainfall pattern this year has affected our people greatly. About thousands of people have been affected. Why do I say so? If you go there now, nobody needs to tell you. It's visible. You will see it with your eyes. So we are seeing that actually this year's diversification of the flood into our people, if actually we could get dams out of that place, we could get dams by supporting us, the big dams, and settle them there. Get irrigation equipment and resettle them around the area. I think it will be very good for us.
Now, Access Bank has provided footwear made from abundant and unused car tires to school children in 10 schools in 5 regions right here in Ghana. The project will put smiles on the faces of the children who walk barefoot to school. At a ceremony to hand over the footwear to the schools, Managing Director of Access Bank, Olumide Olatunji, said the project sought to break the cycle of educational barriers in Ghana caused by the lack of footwear.
It was a celebration of ingenuity and compassion, all stemming from an initiative that repurposed discarded car tires into vibrant and sturdy footwear for school children.
Some of my colleagues, they come to school, some came with sandals, let's say slippers, and sometimes we want them not to bring that kind of slippers to school, but they give excuse that their parents don't have money to provide shoes for them. So as for this presentation, I can see that they are happy that you've given them this kind of sandals to bring to school. They are happy.
Among the cheerful throng of students, the head prefect of Liberty Avenue 2 Junior High School, Richard Agbasaglo, expressed his gratitude for the thoughtful gesture. He recounted how some of his peers had previously missed out on their studies due to the lack of proper footwear.
Because when you say don't bring this to school, and the next day you bring it, it will be like you are a disobedient boy. So you yourself know you don't want to be disgraced in the school, so you will say you will not come to school. Yeah, so it has affected some people. Because if you don't come to school today, what we are learning today, you will not get it. So it affected some people, but I can see they are happy now.
The ambitious undertaking that spans 3 to 5 years sought to repurpose over 2,500 discarded car tires, ultimately crafting more than 13,000 pair of sandals.
If you look around you, every 20 kilometers you walk or even 10 meters you run, you see a tire waste somewhere, either being bent, and this causing adverse impact to our environment.
The head of corporate communications at Access Bank, David Akindele Oluwasho, beamed with pride as he witnessed the joyous celebrations unfold.
As part of the things we look at in sustainability is we have to make impact in our workplace, make impact in our marketplace, and make impact in our community. And this initiative called A Sanda More for a Better Tomorrow is something that is impacting our community. As first of all, I have to also say that education is one of our focus areas. And a very simple research that we did shows that a lot of children across Africa really go to schools in a very excruciating condition without school sandals. See how scorchy the sun is. And some children, even here this morning, as we can see, have come to school barefooted. And that thought alone pushed us to say, let's just activate a part of what we believe in. We also believe that waste is not waste until you waste it, that waste is useful. So this morning we've converted over 9,000 pounds of tire waste into school sandals to support education and also keep a clean environment. So we are supporting the SDGs, 2 of the SDGs. It's important to know that this is not just happening at Liberty School Complex here, it's happening concurrently across 10 schools, across 5 regions in Ghana.
The Director of Corporate Affairs of the Environmental Protection Agency, Audrey Kweku, lauded Access Bank's laudable efforts, recognizing the profound impact of the project on both the environment and the lives of young students.
One of the key things for us too is that managing the waste, when we have waste and we can reuse it, helps us to improve on the environment and environmental issues. Aside that, it is also a way of providing footwear for the kids who may not be able to, afford. So, in a nutshell, EPA is very happy, and we hope to continue to collaborate with other institutions, including Access Bank, to promote sound environmental management practices in Ghana.
The echoes of laughter and the patter of tiny feet resounded throughout the school, serving as a poignant reminder of the transformative power of collective action and compassionate innovation. Richard Kwejinyako for Joy News.
And it's on that heartwarming note that we cap off the news. But stay with us. Up next, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante joins me for the news review. Welcome back. It is news review time, and shortly I'll be introducing my guest to you. But this segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they're offering you, as always, free prostate screening. And by the way, next month, November, is Prostate Awareness Month. Are you aware of that? Why don't you get yourself screened? If you're a woman, they're offering you free fertility screening as well. Just make your way to any of their branches. Fortunately, wherever you are, almost in all parts of the country, you can locate them. If you're here in Accra, they're at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. If you are in Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex, that's where you can find them. There's Takrady Anaji Estate, there's Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama Nzema. I suggest you call them, and these are the numbers on which you can reach them. 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And that ushers us right into the news review. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is my guest. We all know him. He's a political scientist. He also is director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Good morning, Doc. You may have to unmute, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Hello, Doc. All right, so we'll try to reconnect with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. In the interim, I have this morning the Daily Graphic newspaper, the Finder, the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Publisher. Of course, there's also the Ghanaian Times. Today we're spoiled for choice. We have quite a number of newspapers, and then I see others as well. We'll try to get into as many as we can. When Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante reconnects with me, there are two quick issues I want to run by him before we get into the newspaper review. I would have brought up the Justice Atuguba matter, but maybe I'll save it for later, some other day. But there is the issue of the name change of the University of Ghana. Some utterances made by Mr. President that in the past that it should be named after J.B. Dankwa. In recent times, there was an interview with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, and among other things, including talking about my own former hall. Yes, I'm an old vandal, Commonwealth Hall. She also spoke about historical antecedents and all of that. I would be curious to find out from Dr. Asa Asante whether at this juncture, with all the renamings that have been going on and the threat by some that, let's make it clear, the NDC, that if they were to come to power, they would reverse the names. Some of the names, though, I mean, to be honest, some of the names. And it comes with all the changes in paperwork and on the international scene. And then there is the $140 million Trafigura incident. Do we intentionally sometimes create judgment debts for the state so some people can benefit from the back door? Do we? It's a question I'm putting out there, especially since the year 2000 till now. We've had some very curious instances. And now, Papa Usuankoma, I believe that's his name, our High Commissioner to the UK, says it's an embarrassing situation because they are threatening on the back of the judgment debt on which we have failed to make payments. They are threatening to actually seize some of Ghana's property. To the point where even our High Commission was cited, but of course, we all know that under international law, diplomatic policy, that place has some protection on the international scene. But how did we get here? Well, Dr. Kwame Asa Asante can hear me now. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. I think I can hear you louder now and clear. Yes.
So 2 things I just quickly wanted to run by you. It has come to the fore again. I'm sure you've seen that interview with the Vice Chancellor of University. I am an old vandal and some of these comments, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the renaming of the University of Ghana after a certain Dr. J.B. Dankwa. It has come to the fore. The President spoke about it at a point, and the Vice Chancellor is talking about going back to history, whatever she means by that. I'm not so sure. What is your take on that? And quickly as well, Trafigura, that judgment debt. I've been scratching my head asking myself, do we sometimes intentionally create judgment debts so some individuals, faceless individuals, can go through the back door and benefit from it? Because some of our judgment debts, honestly, do not make sense. You know, you are cancelling this thing, and this thing will likely have repercussions. Why do we still go ahead and do them? It's got many people thinking. $140 million, Papa Usuankoma, our High Commissioner to the UK, has called it embarrassing because they are targeting Ghana's assets in the UK. And even the High Commission itself has come into the fray, but of course, we know it's protected by international law. What is your thinking on these 2 matters?
Yes, I think I will look at the issue of judgment debt. I think when you look at everything, there is always a problem with judgment debt. And Justice Appel's Commission's report is there for all of us to see as to sometimes the thinking behind people who hold public office, and then when they are engaging in this type of decisions on the behalf of the state, what goes into some of these things. It's unfortunate that we continue to have judgment debt on our hands, because one would have thought that if for nothing at all, those who make decisions on behalf of the state will make sure that whatever decision they make is nothing but is in the best interest of the state. So when at the end of the day, we have something like this on our hands that we need to cough up money to pay and settle judgment debt and all that, then it calls for worry. It is problematic, and I don't know how we are going to resolve this. Because it appears to me that it is deliberate on the part of public office holders to engage in that. Because other than that, if you know that there exists this contract and these are the terms of the contract, why would you want to abrogate it and then cause yourself, a cost to pay to the other party in the contract? For me, that question remains answered. And that is where the state might take tough decisions on that. That those who put us into that difficult situation should not go scot-free at all. When we are able to do that and then enforce any law that relates to this rigidly, it will push people away from doing same. We need to be tough on this.
Right.
There is always the opportunity for people to go against the rules of the game. But we should also develop that habit of sanctioning them. The only thing that can help in this direction is what? The sanctions. Without sanctions, I'm afraid, we can't fight this battle.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. The University of Ghana.
Yes.
Very quickly on that so we can get into the papers.
Yes, an interesting conversation because time and again, this thing has come to the fore. I was there when the president made that statement. And we have also read the Agbodeka's work on UJ and the rest of them. So I am happy that the VC has also taken the trouble to look at it again by putting up a committee that will look at these things and all that. Remember that when a committee is set in Legon, I can trust the work that they will do. They will look at all the bits and pieces around this issue so that at the end of the day, their work, when it's delivered to the VC, it will be nothing but work that will stand the test of time. So I am comforted with the position that the VC has taken. I know that at the end of the day, when we go through, this issue will be settled once and for all.
Let me ask you this, though. If Dr. J.B. Dankwa had been from a different tradition politically, do you think this would even be an issue? I say that on the back of some of the renamings of institutions across the length and breadth of the country, very quickly, and the fact that these renamings come at a cost. It means everything else. Let's assume it is renamed. Everything else pertaining to the University of Ghana, from even memorabilia or souvenirs to stationery, and everything has to change. The naming has to change. Our naming has to change on the international level. Is it worth it?
If it has been a different political tradition that is championing this cause, the issue would have been 50-50, would have been yes or no. But that is why we have to wait. Let the committee be put together and then let them do their work. At the end of the day, whatever they churn out, we all come and look at it and then digest it very well. Yes.
The Daily Graphic this morning, Doc, Ga Manye, funeral rites begin. And pictured there, the late Na Dede Omedru III. Our condolences, of course, to the entire Ga community. In fact, all of us are bereaved. Records of 14.2 million patients digitized. That story on page 13. Construction of new cement factories suspended. That's according to the Trade Ministry. There's this, I think, Chinese entity, outfit in cement. And recently there's been talk about tax evasion and all of that. I always say that all these things can only happen because our systems are sloppy. Construction of new cement factories suspended. That's according to the Trades Ministry. Akosombo Dam spillage. Government will restore livelihoods. Deputy Minister assures victims. I'll be sure to read that story for you and find out what their plan is, because so far I haven't seen any clear plans. On the back page, 1,000 people to benefit from financial literacy training, and Republic Bank donates equipment to Wassa Dunkwa Government Hospital. So let's start from the start. The government has pledged its commitment to distribute relief items to persons and communities that were affected by the spillage of the Akosombo and Kpong dams to bring comfort to all. It said through its interministerial committee set up by President Kofi Adams, the National Disaster Management Organization would work with the various government agencies to restore the livelihoods of the affected persons. Quote, after water levels have come down, collectively, all government agencies assigned to the Interministerial Committee will do their respective duties so that we restore the schools, electricity, water, and provide the necessary support to farmers and fish farmers and other people who have lost their livelihoods because of the spillage exercise. So, Doc, imagine your fish farm. Some people are complaining now that, they farm oysters in that place. Everything has been swept away. Tilapia, swept away. Farms, inundated. You can't even talk. And because of the filth in the water, mind you, there are cemeteries there. There are rubbish heaps that have now mixed with the water. So everything has been contaminated. Now there's a talk about restoration. Property worth many, many millions has been compromised. And I don't know what your take is on that, because everything has literally, financial life, educational life, economic life, come to a standstill. In the meantime, let me just make this point. Some have suggested we should do some dredging because the waters are not receding quickly enough, and we don't know for how long this will go on as the spillage also continues. Your take?
I will look at this issue from 2 or 3 perspectives, but I'll be fast so that we can go on with others. If you look at government's call to make sure that they will restore livelihoods back, it's a good thing. It's a good call. We want the government to be able to do it as soon as possible so that the people can breathe a sigh of relief. It is important, and we need to be extra fast. The more we stay on this, the more the problem get compounded, and it creates all manner of problems for us, and also it goes with cost, which we don't have all the resources to deal with. So let's hurry up, deal with it once and for all. But it brings me to the other perspective, that what is the lasting solution to this problem? I have spoken with some big, boys within the system, and they educate you. They give you ideas about the way forward, which I don't think that political office holders are not aware of. One of the problems, Ben, is the issue of our inability to build a Pualugu Dam. If you talk to them, they will tell you it should be the game changer. So that once you build a Pualugu Dam and you are able to contain some of the water from its source, it reduces the problem immensely. Because apart from it being, collected by the dam, it's going to also be used to irrigate arable lands in that area for agricultural purposes. The little that will be, maintained will be maintained, and then it then flows through Akosombo Dam and all that. The problem, if you talk to people on the ground, they will tell you that the problem is also compounded by the fact that the Pom Dam, which is supposed to hold it, has also overflowed its banks. So it tells you that there is the need for us to double our effort to build the Pualugu Dam immediately and then save the situation. Because you and I know that yearly by yearly, the Burkina Faso people also spill their water, and it passes through the same place. So once you build Pualugu, it serves 2 purposes. One, to collect the water from Bagri Dam, and also deal with the situation in a situation where we have more water for Akosombo Dam. And it will create a lot of employment opportunity if that dam is built. So we should put all our acts together and then, build resources to be able to start that project. I'm told that they have cut sword for that project. We need to walk the talk immediately and then do the right thing. Another thing I have also learned is that the governments over the years have lacked political will to, as it were, allow the VRE to be able to deal with some of the issues. The issues of people who have encroached all the areas of the dam that is not, they are not supposed to be there. Government had lacked the courage to be able to deal with this issue. I mean, talk to people there, they will tell you. So we need to, be able to go by the rules of the game and ensure that the professionals will do their work and do them well. And then once we do that, we'll bring a sigh of relief. Look at the money that we are quick to pump into and then restore the hope of the people. If we channel it into the building of Pualugu Dam, do the necessary work and all that, I am not sure we'll be in this state. It's a very sorry story, and it's my prayer that we get resources and then restore the lives of the people immediately, and also move the second gear of building Pualugu Dam and other measures that we need to take them seriously.
Right. Doc, we have some 10 minutes, so let's maximize the time. In other stories, there's also records of 14.2 million patients digitized. More than 14.2 million patient records have been captured onto a national digital platform in a significant milestone towards the digitization of the country's healthcare sector, according to the story. Now, the newly introduced electronic patient record system, dubbed, quote, Lightwave Health Information Management System, has been deployed in all teaching, regional and district hospitals across the country as of last month. There's also the story on the Gamanye funeral, the funeral rites, which have begun. And according to the Ghana Traditional Council, they have announced that the burial of the paramount queen mother of the Ghana state would take place on Saturday, October 28th, 2023, as planned. Then I'll leave you with these two stories. Construction of new cement factories suspended. That's according to the Trade Ministry. The construction of cement factories in the country has been suspended. The directive by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, which takes immediate effect, is a temporary measure aimed at streamlining the issuance of permits by various regulatory institutions before the construction of new cement factories could be considered. The directive was issued at the launch of a national quality policy in Accra yesterday. And this is the final one. Doc, you don't have to respond to all of them. I'm just giving snippets out to our viewers. Page 23, Pevi sweet potato farmers call for support. And Pevi, a rural community in the Akachi South municipality of the Volta region, is noted for its unmatched experience and bountiful harvests of the sweet potato crop. This, however, has not brought joy to the farmers over the years. The huge harvests are often left on the farms to rot due to the lack of a ready market for the produce. In a desperate bid to attract customers, some of the farmers heap the sweet potatoes along the road of that community to Akachi, where they also bag the produce. That is it. Sweet potato, so many uses, so many things we could do with it. We allow it to rot, and yet we don't even have proper food security. Over to you, Doc.
I'll talk about the patient's record system that has been digitized. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I support it with all my heart and with all my strength, in the sense that it makes life better, and we are able to access health facilities very easy, and then you are able to work efficiently. I was a student in Switzerland, Geneva, and I happened to be at the hospital, and just my sweets permit, I took it to the hospital, and then they pick it and put it in the system, and I was good to go. So the Ghana card, it's an important document for that type of exercise. That is why I always support the Ghana card system, because once you develop it to the highest, you'll be able to use it for a lot of things. And I am happy that government has turned its attention to this direction. They need to finish it very fast and let it work so that life becomes so easier for us to handle ourselves and then move on to ensure that we all get our health intact and support the productivity process of this country. That is the way to go.
Let's, on the international front, we'll not reflect on these, but just to get you reading, page 5 of the Daily Graphic, British court frees Nigeria from paying $11 billion in damages, and Liberia election results, where Boakai face runoff. In the Ghanaian Times newspaper, it reflects what has been said about the emergency plan for Akosombo, but Akosombo Dam spillage, schools conduct studies under trees as classrooms turn into holding places. World Bank commends Ghana for promoting simplified sewage system, develop micro-insurance products to protect poor from climate shocks. That's according to Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. I could ask him about what he has done himself as Finance Minister in that regard, sanitizing the system so these insurance products can be brought to bear. But then there is this very troubling story. Man jailed 20 years for defiling baby. He's a 31-year-old. He defiled a baby at Medina Social Welfare in Accra, and he's been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment with hard labor by the Adenta Circuit Court. Guess what? The child was only 7 months old, and she entered his room His name is Goli. And on her return, her diaper was soaked with blood. 7-month-old baby. 7 months. Anyway, let's take a quick look at some other stories. October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Next month is Prostate Awareness Month. This one, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, stepping up the campaign against breast cancer. Have you got yourself checked yet? And if you're a man, you know, sometimes you see some, don't get it twisted. There's a very small percentage of men who also develop breast cancer. So as you grow and as you see your chest becoming breasty, so to speak, please start getting yourself checked. I know of someone whose life was saved simply because he went for a breast cancer check. So it's going to affect you too as a man. Know that. Finally, Gaza Health Ministry says 700 killed in 24 hours. And of course, the last time I checked, only 4 of the hostages taken by Hamas had been released, 2 American Israelis, sort of, and some 2 others. And the Israeli forces, the IDF, is still on the ground. Some say it is only waiting because America wants to get some hostages out before they mount a ground offensive. Any quick reflections on any of these stories, Doc?
I will touch on, that heartbreaking story of a 30-year-old man or so.
31.
Who has 31. Has, defiled a baby.
7 months old.
I don't know what to say. There's something wrong with some people in our society that we need to fix and fix now. I will expect that psychologists will come in here and then help us to deal with this, because such attitude within the society doesn't bode well for any meaningful society, and it really undermines our fortunes and all the effort that we make to build a better society for ourselves. We need the expert in here to help us out, but we must strengthen the socialization processes at home, in schools, in public places, and then we are able to do the necessary things that we are required to do. I think that is the way to go. But it's a sad story, and it's a story we don't want to hear at any time, any day. Pure madness, nothing more, nothing else.
The final newspaper now. Delegates backing Dr. Akoto, Dr. Efri Akoto, of course, tout his proposals as solutions to Ghana's problems. You can check out details on page 8 of the paper. Livelihoods will be restored. VRA assures spillage flood victims, or spillage victims. I think we could leave it as that. But 2 stories I want us to quickly take a look at. Customs intercepts 11,204 pieces of imitation wax prints. Doc, nowadays you say Ghana ware, and a lot of it is from other places, China. I remember back then the wax prints, the Netherlands and all of that. But nowadays, I mean, a lot of what you may use thinking you are wearing or donning Ghana is actually not Ghanaian. It's probably only the tailor or seamstress that will benefit from anything. But this story on page 10, Supreme Court's disqualification of Jachi Kwesen scandalous. That's according to Justice Atuguba. I'll do that story and something from the Daily Guide, and then we can wrap. So Justice William Atuguba, a former Supreme Court judge, has described the Apex Court's ruling which disqualified Mr. James Jachi Kwesen from contesting in the 2020 parliamentary elections in the Asin North constituency as scandalous. The Supreme Court, quoting him, the Supreme Court does not stand in good light in disqualifying Jachi Kwesen despite his clear certificate of renunciation of his Canadian citizenship as from 26th November 2020, whereas the election was on December the 7th, 2020, he said. He also goes on to talk about the fact that after he had dissented, as far as this opinion was concerned, he wasn't impaneled by the former Chief Justice, Enin Yabua, for a long period, over 6 months. And maybe that was some victimization in there. At least that is what he puts out. And I'll wrap with the Daily Guide newspaper. Police deposits Namwan 2.5 million Ghana cedis at Bank of Ghana, court to determine distribution. That's the latest there on page 3. The Ghana Police Service has announced that it has deposited a total amount of 2.5 million Ghana cedis received from the Chief Executive Officer of the defunct gold dealership firm Men's Gold, Nanapia Mensah, known as NAM1, to the police exhibit account at the Bank of Ghana. Quick thoughts, quick reflections, and then we're done.
Yesterday, I was also at the forum where Justice Atuguba spoke. I was there. I listened with rapt attention. What I pick home is the pluses, the minuses relative to the work of our Supreme Court. For me, as a student of politics, it was refreshing to hear some of the stories, because you will not get any person to be able to speak on a subject like that. But I listened, and then he gives a lot of things that the court, in his view, has done, which it doesn't sit well with him. And then things that the court has also done that to him is apt, and it's in line with the work of the court and the rest of them. What I pick home is that there is more that we need to do as a state if we really want to save our court and save our democracy.
Right.
It talks about the issue of empanelment, how we empanel judges, and then its effects on the whole judicial process. The issue of delay in cases and later rulings and the rest of them. For me, I believe that there are a lot that stakeholders should be able to, engage and then look at, and then as a way of what institutional rebuilding will be able to also support the work of the Supreme Court to be able to live and live well. It talks about the issue of also some structural problems that you have. For instance, the Judicial Council, and the fact that you have about 4 government appointees who also sit in there, and you pose the question, does it also really help the issue and the rest of them? These are things that students of democracy, of governance, must also look at and reflect, and we begin to engage stakeholders to look at them and help build a system that will stand at all times a better system for all of us. It's a human society. Problems are bound to happen. But when they do, and people like that point them out, we must get our acts together quickly and then help build it and then move on. Where they have done so well and all that, let's strengthen those frontiers and let it work. Where they're falling short, let's rectify that situation. And at the end of the day, I think governance will be there for all of us, and it will be worth a salt.
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, I'm so grateful for your time. I also spot catching us on social media, Professor Kweku Azah. Greetings to you, sir. It's so good to have you join the conversation, watching, especially as we're talking about the judicial system in Ghana. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us. You actually make my Wednesdays. You make my Wednesdays. Thank you so much, sir.
You also do. And I'm grateful for the opportunity and the service to my state. Thank you.
This is when I get to throw questions to my own former lecturer. But right before we get into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic offering you the opportunity of free screening for your prostate if you're a man, or your fertility if you're a woman. Just find them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronomu Abuehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takra de Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiama in Zima. Call them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports up next on the AM Show. Welcome back on the AM show. We get into our big stories now, and our lenses still remain focused on those areas. Large swathes of land in the Volta and Oti regions, even extending into the eastern region, affected by this entire situation. Some say it is man-made, others say it is a natural disaster. I don't know where you sit. But joining us for a conversation on these and other matters, he's Member of Parliament for the Buem constituency in the person of Kofi Adams. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for the invitation.
Is that gold in your pen?
No, it's just a design. If it were gold, I would not be sitting here.
But this would be, I mean, I was beginning to wonder whether you were, maybe you had a concession somewhere.
Well, it was one of my birthday gifts, so my name on it. And
that's just me starting on a lighter note. But good to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Before we get into the thrust of our discussion, which has to do with all that has happened over the last 40 days.
Yeah.
What's Buem like?
Well,
what's your constituency been like since the last time we spoke up to now? Are there any, I mean, there should be developments every now and then, right? What's happening in Buem?
Well, the site for the Agenda 111, which had been abandoned for a very long time.
The hospital?
Now the hospital. Now we have the contractor on site. He's done the foundation. They are at the level of trying to fill it so they could cast the foundation. So I would say that is the only project that have received some serious attention. The Ghana Education Service regional office structure, I'm told the contract has been terminated and re-awarded to a new contractor who is to move to site. The town roads, nothing has happened beyond the indication that the contract has also been terminated. All other routes have been abandoned and is still in a terrible state. I heard yesterday the chairman of the cocoa board indicate that the cocoa board will no longer award any cocoa rows again. I don't know whether that will include places that they have awarded, level of work done, and the contracts terminated now. Whether they would go ahead and re-award, or it means that we should forget about anything from cocoa board and begin to chase other institutions. So Buem has seen a lot of difficulties and challenges in terms of our routes. Otherwise, it's a peaceful place, calm, beautiful, with mountains that you love to spend time there. Many persons who visit us either for one social activity or the other wish that they never leave. Buem is a place that if you have not been there, you get there once and you want to come again. As difficult as it is to get there because of the bad nature of the roads, when you get there, you want to go again.
It's one of those lush places in terms of the scenery, Ibri-esque scenery in different parts. I remember a friend of mine, Ishmael Lamte, reached out to a place. I think it's in the OT region. I don't know where, but it's pretty undisturbed. The people still live the old way of life. They don't even have electricity. They don't have water. So he found a way of getting water to them and tanks and all of that. But there are places in there that I don't even know why we are not harnessing the touristic potential of those places.
The good thing about OT region generally, and my constituency, is that you can see the issues of environmental effects of like galamsey and those things. Nothing like that in OT region, at least currently.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Well, there are some moves by some persons in some of the areas, and I do hope that the chiefs and the community leaders will team up with all of us to fight it. And so it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. Maybe other areas you go there, you have galamsey, you have all kinds of cyanide and many things that would disturb. But the green in my constituency is green. Everything you eat is fresh.
We thank God for that, and we pray that part of the country stays that way. But pardon me if correct me if I'm wrong. Has some lithium been discovered in that area, or what is it?
There is indication that we have some, but there's no much work that has been done to give the quantities. I do know that there's some attempt to look for iron ore. I don't know why they are worrying so much about the iron ore instead of focusing much more on lithium, considering what the world is driving at. Electric cars, and then that's environmentally friendly vehicles. And so I was thinking that we may even look at lithium more than the iron ore, but that is what I know is being worked now so much on. But we do have a lot of mineral deposits in that area that has not been exploited. But it's my prayer that any attempt to explore anything will be done in a way that will not disadvantage the people. Otherwise, it should remain as it is. Right.
Let's get into two quick conversations, and much later I'll ask you about your thoughts on some other matters. But let's start with Akosombo, the spillage. So I want you to look at this issue. We've spoken about it time without number, time and again. I want us to look at the VRA and its role in all of this. When you read the newspapers today, it talks about government rolling out an emergency plan of sorts 40 days into it. And the VRA says livelihoods will be restored. Of course, the economic life, educational life, in many different ways, many different facets of the lives of the people there have come to an absolute standstill. Now there are some students schooling under trees because their classrooms are serving as accommodation. So from the VRA's standpoint, some have blamed them, others have said this was beyond anything they could handle. When the water flows from upstream, they have no control, the tributaries that are flowing. And of course, we have the three arms of the Volta itself. So what do you see here in terms of culpability or otherwise, as far as the VRA is concerned?
Well, I'll look at VRA before the spill and after the spill, what it is that they have done. And before the spill, VRA failed. After the spill, I don't think that they are doing much. There seems to be a lot of talking than what it is that they are doing on the ground.
There's more talk than walk?
There's more talk than walk. There's so much talking. Because what you hear them say, when you go to the ground, you find something completely different. And so I would have loved that they would focus much more in doing what it is that they must do, rather than talking to the point that you talk and talk and talk and even involve other ministers who say things that didn't even happen. But you see, VRA is an institution that has had some of the best experts,
engineers and more,
environmental experts and what have you. They've had virtually everything, health and everything. Those times, VRA was really a VRA that when you hear that someone is working, even from their ordinary laborers, from remuneration, training, and everything, and work ethic, it's like the aviation industry. They took everything serious. But one is therefore surprised why what happened have to happen.
They still have our best engineers and all of that.
And that is why when VRA says that they did everything right, I am insisting that we have to investigate this whole dam spilling to find out who did what. If VRA is claiming that they followed every protocol, they did what they were supposed to.
The VRA has said that it communicated with leadership of various, from MPs to others. I have heard Samukujeto Ablakwa talk about the information flow and initially when North Tongue was affected. But beyond that, they have also served warning to the people in the community time and again. And like I mentioned, they have no control over the water. I'm just reiterating some of what, Mr. Adams, I'm just reiterating some of what has been mentioned.
I've heard all those things.
And the final bit I will add. The dam, they say sometimes it gets so full to the point where it begins to vibrate or pulsate. It is basically, if that dam is breached, what the engineers tell us is that there will be a disaster across many regions, many places in our country will go under.
So Ben, let's use your studio here as a demonstration. You design a studio to hold a certain amount of water, and you created valves or gates, sluice gates, to open in case it reaches the level beyond its holding capacity.
Right.
And at the time you design those gates to release the water when it gets to the level that you think is beyond its holding capacity or it's almost there, you had no habitation beyond the dam. The level of habitation is very minimal. Now you've had instances where VRA itself, together with other structures, have given away lands for all kinds of developments. Even they, as VRA, they have given away lands for hotel industries, for all kinds of things have happened. Communities, new communities have actually also emerged. So what do? Do you wait for your water level to reach such a level that you need to open many gates at the same time? No. That's why people said VRA has the capacity. Indeed, the country has the capacity. Our universities have the capacity. The oceanography departments and all those things, those who are studying rivers and studying the oceans and studying everything, they have the capacity to calculate the amount of rainfall that is being collected by the rivers that feed the Akosombo Dam.
So two things. They do not control the cubic meters of water that come rushing. And the other bit. I'm just situating the conversation. Last year, they predicted that this would happen. It didn't happen. Weather patterns have become very unpredictable.
I'm saying that the water, it wasn't flood waters that collected at the dam. That you went to sleep and the next morning it rained and then water collected. Or some dam broke some few meters from the Akosombo Dam and filled up the dam. The water that filled that dam came from the spilling from Bagri Dam, from the white volta, the red volta. The black volta, very little maybe water would have come from there because of the Bui dam. Because the Bui is not even full to the point of spilling so much. So very little water would have been contributed by the black volta. Then you have the Oti River that also feeds and other tributaries that feed to the dam. It took days, if not weeks or months, for this water to flow from where it came from into the dam. And that is why I'm saying it is possible. In all our communities, we have rainfall measuring gadgets that they measure to know the amount of rainfall per day. So you have experts who will be able to calculate the amount of water that will be collected by these rivers that feed water into the Akosombo Dam. And you can calculate the levels of evaporation as a result of high temperatures. And you know the current, that's the flow of the rivers. You know the current, how fast it is flowing or how slow it is flowing. And you can calculate the number of days it will take water to move from, say, the Oti River into the dam. You can calculate how much it will take water to move from a particular location to the dam. And so these experts or VRA should have called in some of these experts to be able to help them to know that if we are experiencing flooding in Bipe, that water is not going to evaporate into the sky. It will surely flow to the dam. What is the speed of flow?
Right.
What is the volume of water that is being collected there? How much will be lost through other means and how much will get to the dam? Plus or minus 5%. You use that to do your calculation. You will be able to predict ahead of time, maybe in 40 days or more.
In other words, Kofi, are you alleging that, or are you saying that the VRA was sloppy, that
of course,
it was sleeping on the job?
That's what I'm saying, yes. They slept, unless they are going to tell me that we did all this. We reported to the authorities, and the ones to give us the final go-ahead decided otherwise.
So we should blame the VRA?
We should blame the VRA now. But that is why I'm calling for a proper investigation in this matter. We must investigate this matter. This is not a matter that we must just let go, because we have the experts to be able to tell us. In this modern time, there are a lot of, even AIs, artificial intelligence, can help you tell the movement of water and what would happen. So the VRA should have known this. And VRA should have opened the gates earlier than they did. On the 16th of September. What it means, therefore, is that VRA should have opened the gate somewhere in August. And if they had opened in August, you would not be increasing the number of gates that you have to open. You could have kept it at the 4 that you started with initially. And that would mean that less water will be spilled, and the impact it had on the people would have been minimal. But because you started so late, you have to now open more gates so that the amount of water that you will be releasing through the spillage will be more in order to save the dam. We are not saying they shouldn't spill. I'm not sitting here saying that don't spill, because if they don't spill and the dam collapse, the effect will be more.
Right.
The effect will be more if they don't spill. But why did you delay the spillage? And even when you needed to, if you ask them, they will tell you, oh, we did some simulation exercise and what have you, and we were ready, and everything is going according to plan. Can you really admit that this is according to plan? What is the according to the plan? Where are the safe havens for people to have moved into?
Some have been created.
Created by who? Created. The community themselves created their own safe havens. The VRA didn't. Government didn't. That is why when my good friend also, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, who spoke that the people refused to move when they wanted to evacuate them. I didn't know where she got that information from. No such thing happened.
Is it Madam Prempeh?
Prempeh, yeah. Freda Prempeh. I don't know. I'm sure she would come to apologize for such commentary that...
You think she should apologize?
I think so. I know her, and I know that I think that she should apologize for that, because no such thing happened. Because no place was prepared for them to evacuate to, that they refused. Where the people are living now, they are living in classrooms. Many of which do not even have simple louver blades or windows.
Right, so they're exposed to the elements.
To everything.
They are sleeping well.
There is no lightning. If VRA was minded, and truly so, that you knew you were going to do this, and according to you, is going according to plan, it meant that you should have established proper safe havens. Assuming that you even wanted to use those classrooms, you should have fitted windows. You should have provided sources of water and toiletries, and provided
and
power.
that brings me to my next point. So when you're talking about...
And provided power, because if you knew that you were going to disconnect power because Greco will also be affected, you need to provide solar paneling to provide them with power.
So you talk about...
All this was not done, and you say you've provided safe havens. Do you call those things safe havens?
You talk about energy and, yes, power and water. The Ghana Water Company Limited has had to cut off those communities on the back of the pollution of the water itself. There are cemeteries in there, rubbish heaps that have contaminated the water, dead fish, tilapia they were farming, farmland with, all of those contaminants, so to speak, have got into the water. So the water company has cut them off. Of course, energy. You cannot have plants in the neighborhood still on. Everything.
That's why I'm telling you that no preparation was done, because as they claim that they did simulation because they knew it was going to happen,
right?
You know straight away that the open water sources will be polluted. The rivers that you use to take your water, raw water, to treat will be polluted, and so you may not be able to treat enough for the area. So what will you depend on? Maybe boreholes, because at least that is drilled further down, and so it takes quite some time for these to go through and improve the filtration process of the water. You should have provided that at emergency points to supply water to these persons if you claim you identify any safe haven. But all this was not done. This was not done.
I see some messages coming through, and I want to just look at a few of them. I often see some messages from a certain Kwame Sapong who often has very curious thoughts. You say you're suggesting that Kofi Adams may not be abreast of. I cannot read exactly what you've written because it's not exactly palatable. But I would humbly ask you, Kwame Sapong, since you know so much, would you like to share with us how we could deal with the situation better, or what things you know that the rest of us do not know? Kwame Sapong, if you could respond to that, I'd be grateful, since you are such an expert on the matter. Then there was a question, in fact, a statement that came in about, yes, Afolabi Martin says, "Hi Ben, I'm watching you live. Kudos to your team. Can the VRA be sued?" Well, that is something that, an avenue, a legal route that we often do not take in this country. Can the VRA be sued? That is a question for whoever will put hold on. Whoever will put this to the legal test and what will happen from there. But from where you sit, they are giving 20 million Ghana cedis for some relief efforts in the communities. Should they be sued?
Of course, if they themselves say they knew. Because that's what they are telling us, that they knew this would happen and that it's going according to their plan. And it's now becoming very clear that not much information was shared with the people. They can be exempted from a legal action. The fact that you are providing relief that is not even getting to the people, because the amount of money they are talking about and the amount of items they claim to have issued out, I expect to see a lot more on the ground than we are finding from the images some of you are putting out and what we see when we get to the ground. There are still people who are sleeping on bare floor. Sometimes, just if you are lucky to have a cloth on the floor there, you sleep like that. And so this should not continue many days after the spill. If you claim that you have released so much, considering even the amount of support that individuals and companies, private individuals and private companies have done in that area. If truly the money they claim they have released is being utilized properly, we should not be seeing the kind of things that we are seeing. So what it means also is that even the relief process itself is also being poorly managed and not reaching those who need it the most as quickly as it should. And I think that they should improve their processes.
Right.
Some may ask that what should happen after. At the time of the construction of the dam, the Dr. Nkrumah's 7-year development plan created a model that we need to go back and look at quickly. It includes even building mini dams before even the Akosombo dam, that's at the upper level, and below creating canals that could water and use for agriculture purposes. After the Akosombo dam, we have been able to do 2 more dams. That's the Pond Dam, which is to receive the water at the lower level, and now currently the Bui Dam that was done on the Black Volta. It means we need to build more dams up to be able to retain some of the water, so that when the Bagri Dam spills, or when you have higher levels of rainfall in the upper zone, not all will be flowing towards what.
In fact, that also reminds me of another project, the Pualugu multipurpose dam. Close to about 1 billion. We cut the sod for that dam. It was supposed to have been completed in 4 years, and we've still not done anything. You know that if that dam were there, part of this problem would have already been solved. Because it would take care of.
Would have reduced significantly the amount of water that is flowing. But apart from the site clearing for the sod cutting, nothing has happened there.
We're looking at $1 billion, and now close to 1 billion. I remember it was almost 1 billion, and now with our economic situation and inflation and everything, it will be far more than that.
I'm saying that money didn't come.
Right. It was the Sino-Hydro thing, right?
It didn't come. Beyond the clearing of the sites and dropping of some heap of sands and stones there.
Let's move beyond that. Kwame Sapong responds. He says, yes, please, I'll be happy to be invited to help enrich the discussion. When you invite persons who only see politics in every issue, then sorry, you're not helping your viewers. That is what you share. Kwame Sapong, unfortunately, you've still not answered my question about whether you are any expert. We don't just invite people into the studio. And he's here by virtue of the fact that he's a member of parliament and he's in that area that also is affected. So if you can show me your expertise, maybe we might consider that. If not, then you can show your expertise on social media by putting together the solutions you have to profit.
Ben, you see, the problem we have is people who see when you criticize what is done wrong, the first thing they see is that you are criticizing their party.
But it's also because the NDC and the NPP, you've created a space, a very polarized space, where it can't be, it's mutually exclusive. It must either be this or that.
Even I have not.
You, the politicians, are partly to blame.
I have not criticized the NPP. I have criticized government. Right. The government that receive our taxes. The government, if the NPP feels that the government is an NPP government, then they have a responsibility to make sure that government functions and functions effectively. We will criticize government today, we will criticize government tomorrow as we did yesterday.
Right.
Because government takes our taxes and they have a responsibility.
Indeed,
and
it is a continuum.
If he's not happy about it because he's MPP and that is what makes him expert, so be it.
Well, he's yet to prove his expertise. I'm still waiting.
Nobody will be gaslighted when government fails to act in a way that it must act. We will continue to raise those issues.
Let's get into just very quickly on this, because I want us to talk about the MPP's impending primaries. I also want us to look at two other issues very quickly. That is the renaming of the University of Ghana and the Trafigura issue. So we have limited time to do all of that. But before we do, the IMC, the Interministerial Committee that has been set up to look at this versus maybe declaring a state of emergency. All those crucial ministers, cabinet and all of that are on that. What's your quick take on that?
You see, many are those who have spoken that declaring a state of emergency,
triggering Article 31, the Emergency Powers
helps in mobilization, especially even from the external support. Because look, the situation will not end now. Even after the water has receded, you still will be confronted with so many things that you must deal with. Their water will remain contaminated for a very long time.
Right.
And so they cannot immediately even get back their livelihoods. A lot of cleaning has to be done.
Right.
Do we have the capacity to be able to do that alone without external support? I don't think so. The resettlement and what have you. And that is why people say that you can declare state of emergency in an area. It doesn't mean you are declaring state of emergency in Ghana. But that particular area that is affected. So a certain level of focus. And you can get your military that have some skills and expertise to be able to help in dealing with the situation. As for the IMC, like many have said, it was for me an afterthought. Because if government itself knew that they were going to do this and they were so serious, this IMC should have been established long before the spilling. So they would have helped in even identifying safe havens and putting them in place, putting them in order.
All right. Thanks.
It's an afterthought. That is why very critical ministries that should be in there were not even added, like Ministry of Health, which is very critical because it's a health issue.
Now there's a health crisis.
It's not in there. The education minister who visited yesterday, and I think that his engagement was good, and I hope that he acts according to the promises that he made. Should have also been in there, and so on and so forth. Even the women's and children minister, because a lot of women and the rest and children have been affected, I believe that should have been in there.
Let's talk the MPP's primaries. November the 4th is D-Day, and they're going to choose a candidate to be flag bearer of that party. In recent times, I've heard pot shots thrown at your flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, in respect of his not even being able to select a running mate as of now, and that your party has nothing to offer. But ahead of their primaries, What do you see? What's the writing on the wall from where you sit?
Ben, first and foremost, we are not late in selecting a running mate. You only need a running mate when you are going to file your documents with the Electoral Commission. If we are going to file our documents with the Electoral Commission and we do not have a running mate, then you will be worried that you don't have a running mate whilst readying yourself to go and file documents with the Electoral Commission, which is constitutionally something that must be part of the documents that you are filing. We are more than ready for an election. Our flag bearer has been speaking to issues and policies. He has stated clearly what his views are and what he thinks must be done to turn Ghana around, including a 24-hour economy, where there will be about 3 shifts that will work all through. So you don't have time that this is sleeping time and therefore no action will be happening. You see, the world is not sleeping and waking up at the same time. The world is sleeping and waking up at different times. So when you run a 24-hour economy, you are able to interface and deal with the world at all times. You travel to one part of the world and it is day when it is night here. So when you have that happening, the country will benefit, more employment opportunities will be created. The $10 billion big push that our leader has talked about are all areas. This is what people should be focusing their minds on, not who partners him. Because we know he has the capacity to be able to do what must be done, even assuming without admitting, without a running mate or without a vice president. It's so clear that the NPP have a fixed elections, because that is what the other aspirants are saying. I have heard Adai Nimo speak that the processes are not fair. I have heard Kennedy Ajapong also complain. I've heard Koto Free also complain. So clearly only one person is not complaining, because the arrangements have been done in such a way that it favors him, the system.
Which person is this?
That's the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Why do you say that?
Well, he's the one all the others are accusing. I'm not contesting. I'm not going around campaigning.
So by virtue of the fact that his own party members are pointing fingers at him,
and one of the significant aspirants who stepped out and subsequently left the party to form his own movement also raised same issues. So it means that everybody is saying that the whole system is fixed for one particular person, for a certain agenda to continue. Of course, we know that...
What agenda could that be?
Well, they know what it is that they have said.
But you are mentioning agenda. He who alleges must prove.
And I'm saying that they are giving the indications that they have fixed the system for one that is so weak. You have heard Professor Frimpong Boateng that the vice president is the weakest of all persons who have put themselves out, because he said many things that he has not done and others that have turned out to be the opposite. He has talked about the issues of economy. This is somebody that was presented as an economic whiz-kid who is coming to solve all.
So I get the point you're making.
You're not allowing me to
I think where you are going it's a horse that has been flogged, and I was just about to corroborate.
Allow me to flog.
I was just about to corroborate and say that even members on his side, some people have said that he comes with too much political baggage. That's what you mean.
So much baggage, and someone whose promises cannot be taken serious. Look, this is someone who went to Dag Heward Mills's church and said he didn't understand why we don't construct concrete roads in 2017, and that is what their government is coming to do. Till now, they haven't even constructed a kilometer of concrete roads. Even the few ones that are there, we have to use soil to even maintain them. Look at what is the state of motorway now. So this is someone who promises, and then it is the opposite that happens. So of course, if that is what they want, because they want some cover-ups, they are looking for someone to continue the agenda to cover up. So be it. The Ghanaians will not accept that. They can elect someone to carry on with cover-up for their party, but Ghanaians will not accept that.
Okay.
So I wish them well.
You wish them well. 2 comments that have come in on the back of the previous conversation on the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. Gideon Degba says, I'm not sure the MP has made any political remarks about the issues being discussed. I believe in reference to what Kwame Sapong brought to bear. But Engineer Abdullahi Mahama, with whom I have interacted on some of these matters, sends this message. He says, please tell Kofi that the VRA can give land, but they don't issue permits. The zonal status isn't determined by the VRA, but the physical planning officers of the assembly. It is not as simple as he sees it. What's your reaction?
If you give land for such purposes and subsequently they are granted permit, you are endangering your services and your work. I would have thought that straight away if VRA, I don't think that EPA or the assemblies on their own will just go ahead and give permit without engaging VRA. If VRA had insisted that allowing these structures to erupt in the areas that they have will cause a problem to us, to our work, I don't think that the EPA will go ahead and grant permits, or the local government authorities will go ahead and grant permits. Unless they are telling me that they are granting those permits without engaging VRA. If that is the case, then it's bad. And it is through an inquiry that we will be able to find out all these situations that have happened as far as the lower Volta Basin and even what is happening in the upper Volta Basin.
All right. Let's quickly get into two other issues and then we'll wrap it up. Trafigura, judgment debt, $140 million. That's a lot of money considering where we find our economy currently. We are looking at getting the second tranche of $600 million from the IMF and talk of, having to foot such a bill. Now there's a threat on our assets in the UK. Our High Commission has been targeted, but of course, per international law, there's nothing that can be done on that. I believe it's our banking facility in the UK. But this has been very embarrassing, quoting Papa Osu-Ankoma himself.
Well,
why is it that government in, government out, NDC, NPP, there seems to be a trajectory of judgment debts, and some even go as far as saying some of you politicians do these things because you benefit from the back door?
Please clearly take us out of this and let's deal with the NPP.
There are judgment debts issues hanging around the neck of your party as well from the past. We know that.
What it is that they have done. Clearly, when they went ahead to initiate process to cancel this contract, they were warned. They were warned on many fronts that this emergency plan that Trafigura was arranging was the cheapest at the time and was also for a very short time, 4 years period. And that it could have been managed, maybe the commencement period could be pushed a little bit backwards if we thought that we didn't need the energy at that moment. But government chose otherwise. And they gave cost reasons for termination. When they were sued in court, they never made any argument in relation to what? Cost.
What does that mean?
Well,
what do you think that means?
It means that government is flip-flopping. They really just went out there because they wanted to terminate the contract and the agreement.
For what reason?
Today we are paying judgment debt from resources that we do not have. And that is why people must answer. You see, we must make people answer for decisions that they make. I'm not saying that.
The same way, for example, you would want answers when it comes to the ambulance issue, Kaselato Forsen, Setekpe that is in court, right?
Of course, people must be made to answer. Right. But you see, decisions we make in government may not be 100% right. Maybe after some time, people will have the benefit of reviewing and saying that, oh, maybe you could have done it this way, you could have done it that way. We can allow a certain amount of changes that could have been done or could have been perfected in one way or the other. But to totally make a decision that ends up costing us more. From the experts' analysis, if we had allowed that contract to stay, it will cost us even less than $120 million. Today,
now we are looking at $140 million.
We are being made to pay $140 billion. And the company involved is having other businesses here. And government could have basically engaged them. This whole idea about we have arrived, we have a right, whether they like it or not, we must change everything, can't help. And that is where I always give NDC the plus. When it comes to continuity of projects and programs, the NDC scores high. And that is why some of you sit and aid them when they begin to ask, oh, what is your policies? What are your programs? you are only good at continuing. Governance is about continuing and making it better.
All right.
That is why we pick things that they start which are not in good shape, and we make sure that we perfect them. President Kufuor started National Youth Employment Program, amorphous, no law backing it and the rest. We came, we perfected it. And now today we have Youth Employment Authority with law backing it and everything. Many other activities that they started, we didn't throw them away.
The same way I
throw them away.
The same way I believe you're going to continue with free SHS, right?
Of course. Right. Nobody said free SHS is bad. All we say is that let's review it and do it in a way that will benefit all. And now today they have come back to our point. Let's talking about a review.
Let's conclude on this point. Renaming the University of Ghana. Recently we've heard the Vice Chancellor speak. And of course, prior to that, quite a while ago, Mr. President spoke about renaming it after Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Quick thoughts on that, and it's a wrap.
You see, what is so wrong with our country that we have leadership that is all interested in naming things that will not add anything, that will not bring about any change? Instead of talking about helping the universities.
Maybe the renaming will bring more investment.
How is it going to bring more investment?
Into the institution.
From Chebi or from where?
Well, you never know.
It's going to bring from Chebi or where that they have not brought. Well, someone said they claimed that it was the man who recommended the name Ghana. So if he recommended the name Ghana for us, and we have named a University of Ghana, then you should be happy. Why are you pushing so much that his name be attached to a university? A university that all of us attended, and we are so happy it being called University of Ghana. You want to go and change it. And what is going to add? The president should be looking around and possibly, even without right, making recommendations through his Minister for Education as to what other programs our universities can introduce to make it relevant so that the job market will be ready for them and not asking for renaming.
Okay.
It tells you that his reach is with ends. They have no more any ideas beyond just renaming. It's clearly this government, no. You have your predecessor build hospitals. You come and you decide to go and take money to build a cathedral. Those hospitals that were built by your predecessor, you go back trying to recommission them. Hospitals that have been commissioned, for example, the Rich Hospital, you have to recommission something that have been
commissioned. He says he's giving us 111 hospitals now, district, regional, and you've been talking about the one in your constituency, right? You've been talking about the one.
Those that they promise us that they will finish them in 2 years. Haven't the 2 years passed already? Which of them has?
But they've mentioned that before the end of 2024, they would have completed
which of them?
No, but I'm telling you what the current...
They told you 2 years.
The current schedule is.
But who says that before the end of 2024, they will finish the 111?
But they've kept reiterating that they would.
It's a 419 agenda.
I see.
If it has to take a disaster for you to realize that we needed hospitals, when the previous government was already building hospitals without a disaster, it should tell you the kind of people we elected to lead us.
Kofi Adams, thank you for having breakfast with us this morning. Kofi Adams is a member of parliament for Buem, and he joined us for this conversation. Of course, we've been talking about everything between the Akosombo Dam spillage, and we've also looked at the NPP primaries, the Trafigura issue, $140 million at stake, that judgment debt, and of course, renaming the University of Ghana.
But Ben,
you have something?
Yes, the attention has been so much on the lower Volta basin because they have been impacted as a result of the spill, which is man-made. We caused it. We spilled. But then the upper Volta basin and communities around the tributaries like Oti are equally suffering. And you have the Karachi West, the Karachi East District, the Karachi Nchumuru, the Biakoyes, even the Nkwanta North and Nkwanta South are suffering. I heard Nadmo was in Pru East to make some donation. Sene East, Sene West, Afram Plains North and South are all also suffering from the flooding of the Akosombo Dam. And we must extend a helping hand to all these areas also.
Since you had to interject, let me just bring this in. Startup Hub Ghana says, the way the MP is talking with energy, I believe he can channel that as well to lobbying for his constituency roads that are in a deplorable state.
We've lobbied and lobbied and lobbied. I just told you, those roads were awarded on contract under the NDC administration. This government came and stopped them. It's not like roads have not been awarded. They were awarded on contract. The contractors were on site working. They came and stopped them. I have engaged the Minister for Roads and Highways. Promises have been made. He came to Parliament, said before the end of 2022, we were going to see contractors back on the roads. 2023 is ending and nothing is happening. Unfortunately, instead of some of the NPP party persons within my constituency teaming up with me, so we will take on the minister and government. They will be asking you, the MP, what have you done about the roads? As if you hold a budget to be able to construct roads. Yours is to talk, yours is to raise it, and have done so, but the government have turned blind.
Lobbying is what happens from your end. Thank you very much, Kofi Adams. He's Member of Parliament for Buem. Do stay with us on the AM show. We still have a lot more stories coming your way. Up next.
On September 15, 2023, the Volta River Authority initiated a controlled spillage of the Akosombo Dam when the water level reached 272.5 feet.
Began controlled spillage of water from the Akosombo Dam and Pong dams owing to high inflows into the reservoir, resulting in the water level exceeding its upper levels. The spillage is to prevent the water from overtopping and compromising the integrity of the dam.
About 38 days later, on October 9, the VRA announced the need to increase the spillage due to rising inflow, requiring the opening of an additional 4 floodgates. By this point, the inundation had affected many districts, with Mepe being the most hit. Evacuation exercises were intensified as homes were submerged. Government stepped in, with the Deputy Minister of Energy leading a delegation to the hydro dam, where a detailed presentation was given on the reasons, methods, timing, and consequences of the spillage.
In July, we depend on the Ghana Meteorological Agency for forecasts because the water that comes, it comes through rainfall. At the time, the forecasts gave the indication that we are not supposed to expect too much water into the reservoir. So at that time, if you look at, in terms of elevation, what we should expect, we're supposed to go as high as a maximum of around 274 feet, which is 2 feet below where you would normally want to, your maximum of 276. But in August, the situation changed. The same GMET now issued a new adapted forecast that the situation has changed and we should expect a lot of rain going forward. So then we set our EPP in motion. Once we got that information, we set our EPP in motion.
Government's priority, as always, is to first of all make sure no lives are lost in the process. We abate and reduce and cushion the effect that it has on property, and the unfortunate ones that will be affected, property that will be affected by the spill. Government, working with VRA and NADMO, will ensure that the properties are restored for the persons whose properties will be affected.
The spillage continued, with the VRA releasing 185,000 cubic feet of water every second, causing the floods to spread further downstream.
VRA has a monitoring team, that went to the lower Volta even before we started the spill event, and they are still there. Together with other actors like the district assembly officials, NADMO, etc. They are monitoring the situation and then giving us a feedback of what is going wrong and how we have to react. The emergency preparedness plan, as we have been briefed on, classifies the various phases and what we have to do. So at this stage of phase 2, we have established what we call the emergency operational centers. That's the EOCs. And these are manned by NADMO officials. and they coordinate all the activities that are going on in the various communities and districts. So they give us feedback of all the, that is the impacted, or the heavily impacted areas, for us to also respond immediately to their needs.
Concerned about the impact, the VRA delivered the first and second batches of relief items, estimated at more than 1 million Ghana cedis.
What you are seeing now, we seek to intensify our humanitarian efforts to bring in more relief items. So that's what you are seeing here. So basically we are targeting 9 districts in all. We joined NADMO to donate the first batch of items at Central Town, that's at Idobe. We are here now at North Town, and we'll be looking at the other districts.
Mepe, the hardest hit community, became the emergency operations center, with St. Kizito Senior High School 7 as the largest safe haven, sheltering an estimated 2,000 victims in the first week alone. The distribution of relief items intensified.
We have decided to move to every room per household so that we can get everybody on board to get at least the food stuff, basin, toilet roll, everything, so that nobody will stay without any relief items.
Member of Parliament for North Tongue Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa launched a mobile relief caravan initiative aimed to aid 10,000 victims.
I mean, virtually the entire Mepe, we are in Mepe now, the entire Mepe traditional area has been affected. And even those who may not be in the camps are putting up with people in Bato, in Aveima, and other places. So what we are doing is making sure that we don't only serve those in the camps, but we identify. So a couple of days ago, we announced that those who are putting up in various homes should come to the Mepe Presby Park, and we did a distribution there. Today we want to focus on the camps. We are the Mepe RCJHS, and just adjoining this compound is the Mepe St. Kizito Senior High School. We are going to make sure that they receive their items.
On October 16, 2023, President Akufo-Addo paid a visit to the affected areas. He toured the Mepe St. Kizito Safe Haven and announced the formation of an interministerial committee to manage the disaster.
We agreed to establish an interministerial committee to coordinate government response to this tragedy. The most important thing was, first of all, to ensure the life of people. And that is why 9 centers were established here in Mepe for all the displaced people. I'm aware that you are farming people. Riverbanks that have overflown and destroyed many of the farms. So one of the things that the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Finance, and the Office of the President is going to be working with the District Assembly is to decide exactly the nature of the support.
While warning against politicizing such disasters, the president made this statement.
I came here because Ghanaians are having difficulties and are suffering. And it is my responsibility to try and help. Because if it's a question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, I shouldn't be here, because you don't vote for me.
This was met with a demand for an apology from the National Democratic Congress.
Clearly, from the information that we have picked from our MPs and our people on the ground, it shows that the government doesn't really care that much. It shows clearly that so far, the government has not shown real commitment to the people of Volta region. Let me also say that on behalf of the people of Ghana, the NDC minority in Parliament want to apologize to the people of Volta region for the statement made by the President of the Republic of Ghana. We consider that statement as very unfortunate, and this statement should not come from the father of the land in times like this. And it surprises us, and we are really disappointed in a statement coming from His Excellency the President. We call on him also to apologize to the people of Volta region in particular for what he said.
Former President John Dramani Mahama, the NDC party, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin and others donated relief items to flood victims in Sogakope on Friday, October 20th, 2023.
But today, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has given us some items to donate, to show our concern. We know that this may not be enough, but this is our widow's mite. We came here with 2,000 bags of rice. Together, the NDC party is spending approximately 1.5 million Ghana cedis for this donation.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also toured affected areas and donated 160,000 Ghana cedis to flood victims.
On behalf of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, this is a personal contribution to add to what government is doing, and this goes to the 8 districts that have been affected by the spillage. It's 160,000 Ghana cedis to be shared across the 8 districts, personally coming from Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in addition to what government is doing.
While relief items continue to pour into the North Tongue district, flood victims in South Tongue lament neglect, saying they are compelled to rely on polluted lake water.
Within my community right now, it's about 2 weeks plus. The water has never flowed from the pipe. So everybody is now depending on the polluted water.
My people still use the river to do some household chores.
For about 2 weeks now, we are really suffering because this is the only source of water that we have. Apart from this water, you won't get any water anywhere. In the morning, this is where they fetch water to bath, to cook, to drink. Some of the people, they don't have access to pure water, to pipe water. So this is the only source of water that they get.
However, through Joy News' reportage, relief items started trickling into these areas.
Due to Joy FM's reportage on the situation at Sokpe and other areas yesterday, we were touched. Vote Cool Park decided to support the people of Sokpe, Mepe, Adada, Gagave and other areas. We have started with 500 for each community, but the starting is 7,000. We are distributing 7,000, and we'll be in this till the situation returns to normal. We hope to distribute about 20,000 bags by the time this thing is gone down.
The disaster has impacted virtually every aspect of human existence: social life, education, businesses, farmlands. While hundreds of school-going children remain at home, 20-year-old Gertrude Nuchukpi, a graduate of Akachi Technical School, decided to fill the gap.
What can the ears do? What can the ears do? It can hear, it can hear.
Businesses continue to tally their losses.
Since morning, I have not made any single sale. Even yesterday, how much did I sell? 500 cedis. So
before, how much would you have sold on a day, on a regular day?
Yes, like 2,000 or 3,000. But now, yesterday 500. Today, nothing. We are really suffering.
The elderly are the most affected. With tears in their eyes, families struggle to survive amidst the disaster.
Because I'm
The VRA reported spending 9 million Ghana cedis as of October 23, 2023.
VRA has committed to an amount of 20 million to be used to handle this. I must say that since the spilling started, there has been calls for procurement of things, and so it is something that is ongoing. But at the last count, I think we've spent about 9 million cedis towards the procurement of food items and all the things that has been done so far as was enumerated. But in total, VRA is committed to spending an amount of 20 million cedis.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Freda Prempeh, has blamed flood victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage for not heeding to early warnings from the authorities to evacuate.
We don't want what has happened at Akosombo to happen to us in Accra. The Akosombo spillage, even though VRA, NADMO, the Water Resources Commission came together to educate the people in the community, did simulation exercises with them, even at Mepe. Yet they refused to leave.
As of October 23, 2023, 36,000 Ghanaians have been counted as those bearing the brunt of the Akosombo Dam spillage.
As we speak now, current figures collated by NADMO stands at about 36,000 people who have been affected so far.
But the Volta River Authority maintains that not spilling the excess water would have had far-reaching effects on the dam and the country as a whole.
VRA has a mandate to keep the water level up to safe levels, beyond which we stand the risk of dam break, which is an unimaginable event. That worst case, if VRA allows it to happen, it means that the impact would be far greater than what we have seen.
With the spillage ongoing at 185 cubic feet of water per second, and victims if homes collapsed, and major public health concerns arising, the big question on the lips of the victims is when life will return to normal. Carlos Caloni, Joy News.
It's 9 a.m. on the dot. Thank you for making time to join me here on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedo-Lansa. Earlier, you saw my colleague Benjamin Akapu. Now, we've been bringing you stories, particularly in the past 2 weeks, about poisoning in our water bodies. It's now time to talk to you about a group of people who are trying to change the narrative. It's the Pure Earth Blacksmith Initiative. And this morning I've been joined by Esmond Wisdom Kwanzaa. He's Country Director for Pure Earth Blacksmith Initiative. Good morning to you, Esmond. It's such an exciting moment for me because we've had this conversation before. Right. I had you here with a colleague of yours.
Right.
And recently I was watching a clip on lead poisoning in children, and then I remembered the conversation we had. But thank you so much for the work you've been doing so far in Ghana. And this is important and timely, like I said, because of what we've been doing recently about poisoning in our water bodies. We found lead, we found chromium, we found arsenic, and it's getting worse by the day. But tell us about Pure Earth, what you've been doing so far, and how you hope to change the narrative.
Right. Thank you very much, Bernice. And it's a great honor to be here. And I would like to thank Multimedia. I think they've been partnering with us in the journey of raising awareness on lead pollution and poisoning, especially in the low to middle income countries. So Pure Earth has been partnering with civil society organizations and government organizations. We've been working with the EPA, Ghana Health Service. We had a project that just ended. I think that project was Christine Protecting Every Child Potentials. That project sought to ascertain the blood lead level in children under 5 years in 3 ecological zones, Greater Accra, Ashanti region, and then the Northern region. I'm happy to say that the result of that study is out. What we've seen is a bit concerning. 53.5% of those children that were assessed in these areas have blood lead levels more than the recommended threshold by World Health Organization, WHO, 5 microgram per deciliter. And I think the body doesn't need lead at all. And so if there is that quantity in it, then there's a bit of concern. We've also done a study to ascertain the source contamination, what is actually causing the elevated blood level in children.
Right.
And we discovered that most of these areas, the soil contamination of lead is high. So we're talking about the industrial enclave of Afienya and Pung in particular, for example. Those areas have the highest levels of blood lead levels in children and require an urgent attention for us to educate the people there and provide some sort of treatment for the affected children that probably had recorded about 45 microgram per deciliter. That's very high. That's the level at which World Health is asking for treatment. We call it the Chilesian treatment for those children. In terms of the northern region, I think one thing that also came out from the home-based assessment study is the use of this traditional eyeliner that people call chilo. Some call it kaji kaji.
Aha.
Yeah, the 90% of the mothers surveyed in the Yendi and Tolong district actually applied this on the eyes of the children. And this lead actually measured about 1 million part per million. That means that it's technically pure lead that has been applied on the eyes of these children.
They do that for the babies.
For the babies. And so what we discovered there is that the blood lead level measurement in those two districts range between 75% to 80%. And so it's a bit of concern. I think one other area is the metallic cookware, especially those that are made from the scraps. Where 77% of those cookwares actually recorded lead concentrations above the recommended threshold.
So as you're cooking with them and eating, you're ingesting the lead.
Exactly, there's that possibility of that happening.
Right. So, I mean, we'll come back to talk about the impact of this, especially on children, because that's your focus. But let's talk about the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week. Tell us about it and tell us what the main theme is for this year.
Right. So the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, this is a series of its kind. That has been instituted by World Health Organization in conjunction with civil society organization. I mean, the idea is to raise awareness about lead exposure and its harmful effects on the population. This year's theme is End Childhood Lead Poisoning. One thing that I must say, Bernice, is that the children's bodies absorb lead 4 to 5 times of that of adults.
Okay.
And so the idea is to raise awareness about childhood lead poisoning and also draw attention to what is being done to resolve the issues and also to call for more action to address this issue. If not, we're risking a generation that probably might lose their IQs and may not be as productive.
Okay.
The economic toll is also huge as a result of that.
Right. So that's one of the devastating effects of exposure to lead is that the children lose their abilities, cognitive abilities, and then it affects how they study in school and how they even appreciate, complex things. And in other parts of the world, their counterparts are moving at a fast speed. Unfortunately, we're seeing that this is more endemic in developing countries.
Exactly.
Well, we need to quickly wrap up our conversation shortly, but because this is such a broad subject matter, and I know that there are a lot of parents and, caregivers for children, teachers, institutions that need to really understand what this is all about and how to prevent the children from getting poisoned by lead. Just tell us how we can access the documents and all the material that we need. How do we get in touch with Pure Earth, for example, if we want to have a sit down for you to explain to us, basically what this is all about? Yeah.
Right. So we have a website called leadpollution.org. You can have all the information you want to know about the situation of lead pollution and poisoning. We also have our website pureearth.org. You have pureearth.org. You have all the information on that platform that would provide all the necessary education. We've also have some recent reports published. The rapid market screening project, for example, that assess consumer goods in 25 countries, including Ghana, and the outcome of that. A lot of work needs to be done anyway. And so, I mean, we are in Ghana to partner organizations to address this situation. So far, we've seen so much determination by EPA, and I must commend EPA. Honorable Kokofu has shown the leadership coming from the findings of the PECP project and what he's doing with us to try to address the issues. We are also collaborating with Ghana Health Service. Clearly, we need to strengthen the health system around lead poisoning so that it can be diagnosed early, detected, and treated. I think a lot needs to be done, but I think a journey of 1,000 miles start with a day.
Definitely.
And so I think we're making progress. I think there's been something, some general concerns I need to clarify. I think from the rapid market screening project, we realized that the metallic cookware, for example, the aluminum ones, 55% of those tested exceeded the threshold. And I think a lot of people were quite very worried and concerned.
But that is also the responsibility of those who are supposed to monitor what's on the market, right? So this involves policymakers, this involves market surveillance and ensuring that all these things are there. But briefly, we're wrapping up in a minute. I'd just like for you to share with us what the events are for the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week and how we can all be a part of it.
Right, great. So I think we started by issuing a press statement on Monday. That is also on our social media handles that you can actually access. We share with the media houses as well. Yesterday, we joined UNICEF to conduct a symposium for a group of school children at the British Council. On Friday, we're engaging students at Tema Parent, where we expect Ghana Health Service, UNICEF, to join us there to make a statement to call for action to address these issues of lead poisoning. So I'm calling on all like-minded people. Of course, multimedia has always been part of us to be there and cover the event.
Thank you so much, Esmond, and we are very happy and grateful for the work you do for Ghanaian children.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best. And that is Esmond Wisdom Kwanzaa. He is Country Director for Pure Earth, a blacksmith initiative, and they are raising awareness about lead poisoning in Ghana, and they also want you to be a part of that. So don't forget, you can reach Esmond and his team on their website, and I'll quickly run you through that. It's yourearth.org, and then also if you want to learn more about lead pollution, is leadpollution.org, and you can find all the details about lead poisoning, the impact on children, and why we all need to take it seriously. Once again, Esmond, thank you so much.
Thank you very much
for what you're doing to help Ghanaian children. When we come back, I'll be speaking to sponsors of the NSMQ, and much later I will be sharing insights on the Adum Praise Tuesday.
Thank you.
I'm excited that you stayed here on the AM show with me, and you know the NSMQ finale is coming up in a few days, next week actually, and it's time for us to say thank you to those who help us bring you the broadcast of the quiz. I know some of you have been super excited watching the quizzes. I know families that gather to watch the quizzes, and so it's a good thing for us to show appreciation to those who help us bring you the live coverage. And one of our official sponsors is Invest Corp. And this morning I've been joined by Christabel Wakante. She is Vice President, Institutional and Private Wealth at Invest Corp. It's such a privilege to have you here. And once again, let me just say thank you for helping us do this for the quiz and for the nation at large. First off, what is Invest Corp? What do you do?
Okay, so Invest Corp is an asset management company. We have been in existence for over 9 years. We are licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission as well as the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. And what we do primarily, I said, asset management, which is investment management for individuals, institutions, pension funds, and the likes. We do corporate finance as well, and then research, which is the bedrock of what we do. But ultimately, our goal is to be able to help institutions and then individuals meet their life priorities as well as their corporate objectives.
All right, so tell me what it would be like when I walk into your office. Do you already have existing packages, or you're going to talk to me, you're going to find out what I do, how much I earn, what I'm hoping to be, or what I'm hoping to have in terms of assets in the future? Basically, all I'm asking is, are there existing packages or they're tailor-made for your clients?
Okay. So we do have existing packages, but we do tailor those to each client. We believe that not necessarily that one size fits all. We need to understand your journey so that we can give you a solution that is customized for you. Some people are at the stage where they want to buy a home, some people want to buy a car, somebody just wants to go back to school. So we need to come up with the right investment for you that helps you to meet that goal, whether it's the short term or the long term. So yes, we have tailored packages like mutual funds, which are good for retail investors or individual investors. We also have private wealth, which is what I do. And here we manage funds for high net worth individuals, people who want their own customized portfolio. And then we do institutional fund management. So for institutions, if you have a welfare fund, we can manage it for you, provident fund, pension funds. Those are the things that we do.
Fantastic. Invest Corp and SMQ. Why the interest there?
So we are really big on education. We understand the domino effect of education, how it affects society, how it affects the next generation in terms of their personal development, their professional development. That is critical, and so we want to be part of that conversation. And so over the years, we have made sure that we've been part of the conversation through partnerships with educational initiatives like the National Science and Math Quiz. And this year we decided, come on board and be part of that story.
That's fantastic. And is your school still in the contest?
Oh, gosh. It's sad. My school never makes it.
Oh, never makes it. Okay. Well, this year my school didn't go, but I mean, we've been following the competition.
Okay, let me not say never because they'll be mad at me. They'll be mad at me, so I won't say never. But I rep St. Rose's.
Oh, Sparrows. But I think this year St. Rose's was. I'm not too sure, but I think so. But your guys have been representing you, just that this year they struggled. Sorry about that. But I mean, what is the long-term vision for Invest Corp? I mean, we look at the market and we know how things have been over the years, right? And there are people who are struggling to invest because of all the unfortunate shocks that the system receives. What is it that Invest Corp has that, is resilient to the shocks? For which reason, if I'm making a decision to invest, I should come to Invest Corp.
Okay, so like I did mention that we've been in existence for over 9 years. And during these 9 years, they've not been easy years in terms of the economic climate. And we're still here. And the reason we're still here is because we listen to our clients. We make sure that whatever investments that we do, we have their interest at heart. We're also very compliant with regulation, like I mentioned, and so that helps us to also stay afloat. But I understand that we're in challenging times. I understand that, we're at high levels of inflation. People actually don't even have money to save. But I always urge people to try to invest a little before you spend. And for most of my clients, they save or they invested towards a rainy day, and that rainy day has come today. And so they're able to benefit from those savings. So even though times are hard, I always encourage people to continue to invest for the long term.
Yes, and if you're looking for a good investment company, Invest Corp is the choice you should make, because I know there are a lot of companies around, but like she said, times are hard. So if you want to put your money somewhere, you should be sure that you're putting it in the hands of a trustworthy person, and Christabel Okante and her team are available to help you. Where do we locate Invest Corp? How do we contact you for a conversation about investment opportunities and the like?
Okay, so we are located at North Joglu. If you put us into any of these navigation systems, Google Maps, it will bring you right to us. We're on the Gimpa Legon bypass, and so you can just pass by offices. We're always open to the public during the weekdays. And you can call us on 0302 509045. Or you can just drop us an email at info@investcorpgh.com, and we're always available to help.
Always available. Are you only located in Accra?
Yes.
Because we have viewers all over the world, not all over the country, all over the world, and there are people watching us even, from the States, people watching us from the UK, who may say that, okay, I want to invest locally. They must send an email, right? Because you don't have offices across.
No, we don't have offices across, but they can send the email. Right. We have a very dedicated client experience team that will reach out to them. If they are local, they can dial our short code, which is *789 *710#, and they can pre-register, and we will give them a call.
The short code again.
*789 *710#.
Right.
So if they do that, we will definitely reach out to them and we will guide them through the process. They can also go on our website. We have an online account opening form there. All our products are listed there. You can get the information and you can go ahead and open an account as well online. We also finally have a mobile app which you can use globally to track your investments. And so whilst we have one location, we are accessible everywhere that you are.
That's fantastic. And it's investcorp.org
or
.com?
.com.
Investcorp.
InvestcorpGH.
Okay, .com. All right, so that's the website we're seeing. So if you want more information, you'll know about InvestCorp, who they are, what they do, the research, because you mentioned that they're heavy on research, and that's the basis of everything they do. And they've also got, a list of their directors, so you know who is handling your money. It's very important, these things, because I know that we are all a bit edgy when it comes to that. So I'm going to put you on the spot finally. We have Presec, Achimota, and Owaz in that finale. I don't know. You're not speaking for Investcorp, please. She's not speaking for, she's speaking as Christabel Okante. What are you looking forward to for the grand finale of the NSMQ?
Well, this is a tough one for me because my whole family, the gentlemen went to Presec. My dad is watching, so I have to rep Odadie.
Okay.
In that regard, right. But my boss is also from Motown, and so I have to root for him as well. So yes,
and it looks like you're in black and white. Please don't come at Christabel that she's doing her job. So I'm sure she didn't realize she was in black and white, but those are the colors of Achimota. And the grand finale of the NSMQ comes up next week. We'll be bringing you a live coverage of that. Christabel Okante is Vice President, Institutions and Private Wealth at InvestCorp. If you want to know more about them, just go onto their website, investcorpgh.com. They are an investment company. They deal with private wealth, asset management. They will help you as an individual or as a business, just get the right investments for yourself and save for a rainy day. They are sponsors of a live broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Once again, thank you, InvestCorp. Now, when I come back, I'll be telling you about the Adom Praise. And this year is the choirs edition. You want to stay for that. Adom Praise, ye be him. We are preparing to bring you the biggest gospel concert ever this year, and it's the Adom Praise Choirs edition. You know how we take it a notch higher every year? So this year we are bringing together all the best choirs in Ghana. Find out from your choir director if your choir is part. If it's not, please Joshua, is there opportunity for them to register now? And are you too late? Are you too late? Hey, you are missing out. This morning, Joshua Tigo, Programs Director of Adom FM, joins me. He's to my immediate left. And Welbeck Kofi Ampidu. I like to call him Osofo. He is... He's producer of Bedroom on Adom, and he's doing such a fantastic job as well, helping the multimedia choir and all of us, prepare and get together. So, Joshua, what informed our decision to have a choirs edition this year? Because what we usually used to is a headline sponsor, supporting artists, but this year, what informed all of this?
Okay, so thank you very much, and good morning to everyone watching us this morning. You know that when we started Adom Praise as far back as 2011, a lot of people have joined the free, and they've modeled their concepts around eyes. And so as trailblazers, what do? You need to give them something that would redirect their attention. And so we are doing this first to actually honor the churches, because they are the breeding grounds for all these headline artists that you've spoken about. So yes, we know that a lot of them have come from the choirs in the church. So yes, that is one reason. The other reason is to actually also change the flavor a little. So yes, that's why we are here.
That's fantastic. I'll come back for you to share with us the choirs that are joining us for this year's Adom Praise and the other details. But also, Ampidu, every time we have Adom Praise, there's just this sense of gratitude, not only from us, but from our clients, from those who do business with us. Tell us why it's important that no matter what, every year, we consistently bring Adom Praise to our viewers and our audience.
The Bible says that the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. You know that this year, and not necessarily this year, every other year has been challenging in its own peculiar nature. And this year has come with its own problems. But thinking about it, I always say that God has been faithful. It doesn't matter what you've been through. He has been so faithful to our families, to ourselves, to our businesses and all that. So it is just the sense of the fact that in spite of all the challenges that we've had over the years, we are still here. And that means that God is not done with us yet. So once you have life, then there is every reason for you to be at Adom Praise, to join a host of choirs. And that is actually what is going to happen in heaven anyway.
You're right.
A host of choirs singing and praising God. So we are simulating heaven on earth, basically.
That's fantastic. I like that. Oh, I told you. He's taking me to church. He's taking me to church. The heaven experience right here on earth through Adom Praise 2023. And I see my very own Pastor Edwin Dadson and CT Praise. It will be such a fantastic night. You don't have to miss this. Josh, so we have CT Praise. And which other choirs are coming?
Yeah, so, the choirs were carefully selected. We really wanted to give every Christian community in Ghana something that they can identify with. And so if you look at the list, we have people who are from charismatic churches, we have people from the Makers House Choir, Destiny Songs, we have Voices of Triumph, CT Praise, Royal House Chapel Joint Choir. You have the new song. The new song is actually the Church of Pentecost Choir.
Okay.
PRWC.
Yeah, I know them. They're good.
There is Perez Chapel Choir.
Okay.
Cedar Mountain Assemblies of God, East Legon.
Okay.
Better Revival. Good old Better Revival. There is this choir that everybody must watch out for.
Okay.
Team Eternity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know Team Eternity.
You know Team Eternity.
They're very contemporary, young group of people. Yeah.
We also have Harmonious Choral. We really do not want to leave out the choral music feel. So
you can't. We're talking about heaven.
and then our own.
Our very own. The multimedia choir will be representing. So look, this is one you don't have to miss. It's happening when? On the 29th of October at the Perez Dome. You need to rush for your tickets
now. We made a few changes that I need to alert viewers of.
Please do.
It's the first time we are doing this on a Sunday. And this is because we do not really want to depart from the church feel.
Right.
You know, we want people to close from church and then straight they come to the Perez Dome. It is also the first time that we are going to start at exactly 4 p.m.
Okay.
And so if you are watching us and you are going to be there, which you should be, I don't want you to get there at 7 p.m. because you would get there when a lot of the good things have already happened.
Right.
So we are encouraging people to be there on time.
4 p.m.
We are starting
prompt.
exactly 4 p.m. Yeah.
Right, okay. And you know what I like with this, and the artworks we have seen just now clearly establish what you were talking about, that these musicians that we appreciate, we celebrate, they come from a body.
Yes.
And so you see that there's a tag. So Reverend Edward Datson is for CT Praise, exactly. And then you see Kofi Pepra,
Kofi multimedia,
multimedia,
exactly.
Yes, and then so you see.
Hairstyle with.
Hey, look, I see myself there.
That's you.
Yes, that's you.
So I mean, it's gonna be amazing, but this is an opportunity for us to celebrate. So, Osafo, look, there are many people who will say, "Oh, but I'm going through a lot, parting with 70 Ghana cedis." This is important. There's just something about when we come together, right? And how we release a certain strength, a certain anointing. Tell us more about that.
Something always brings me to a place of praise. When, not to cast a slur on anybody, but when you have the rare opportunity of going into a hospital and you see somebody who has to part with about 1,000 cedis a day in order to be alive, what it tells you is that God has given you that 1,000 cedis without you even knowing. So whenever you get the opportunity to be in the presence of God, not even in the presence of God, even if you are in your house and you know that at that particular point in time, you have the ability to even wave your hand. You have every opportunity to praise God, because really, what would have happened if you had lost your life? Who would you have blamed? Right. You couldn't have blamed anybody.
Right.
So the fact that you are still alive is a reason for you to praise God. Right. That's it.
So it's a cool 70 Ghana cedis, right?
Ghana cedis.
And you can get somewhere.
A lot of places. It's online. You can actually purchase the tickets online. But you can also come to the multimedia. We have it in a number of churches, ICGC, Christ Temple East. You can get it from there.
Royal House
Chapel.
The Maker's
House. A number
Airport
of
Shell. All the churches.
Yeah, all the churches that
squares
are participating.
All of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So.
You want to give us a dose of what we're expecting on Sunday?
Let them meet.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Anything where you're
done it has a worship.
That's how we see wherever we are when we feel moved. 30 seconds.
Osora above, sorry, I won't tell for. So John said. Shiranka Woody.
And 30 seconds now, so come to our Dome Praise October 29th at the Perez Dome here in Accra. We're starting 4 p.m. sharp. You want to be there? I will be there, and I want to see you there. Look out for me, and I'll be looking out for you. Thank you so much, Joshua TV. Thank you so much, Joshua. And we're going to prepare. Look, this is going to be an exciting experience you don't want to miss. Don't let them come and tell you. Come and experience it. See you at a Dome Praise. We will be back with more. But it's now time for AM Business, brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. We take you to the Upper East Region, Bolgatanga, where basket weavers are calling for help to increase production and market their produce on the international market.
The hidden treasure of the Upper East region is still yet to be tapped, despite the potential it holds in generating more foreign exchange to the country. besides the cultivation of grains like maize, sorghum, millet and other farm produce, which have become the source of livelihood for the people of the region, the arts and craft business is a thriving sector, but with little government attention or support in order to make it the gold mine for the people. The Bolgatanga Craft Village, built in the 80s, is begging for renovation as it continues to serve as a market for many small-scale businesses in the sector. The celebration of the annual Bolgatanga International Craft and Art Fair, BCAF, has come at a good time to highlight the potential in the basket and craft industry as well as the culture of the people. Here are some success stories of the event in the past.
With the help of trade aid and now social media too, sometimes some people always snap and post it there, other people see and ask of it. And also advertisement. And this BCAF, we trade aid will organize for it. Then you send your products there. You meet outside people, then they will come and then, but you make networks. So when they like your products, then they can order for more from you.
So how has the BCAF helped you people? I mean, previous, or you've attended like 2 or 3 of it. How has it been and how has it helped you?
BCAF has helped us a lot. When you go to the forum, you get to meet a lot of people. And even if you go there, you are not able to sell, but you make network. You get contacts of people who are interested in buying. And even if they don't buy at that point, but they will later follow up to know where you are, they want your products, they want this quantity. Yeah. Aside that too, BCAFs is bringing us more money because sometimes through the BCAFs we sell it international. It goes outside the country. And that too is bringing us more money. You also go there to meet a lot of people you associate yourselves with. It's something so interesting, and then it brings us joy and happiness.
For BCAF, it's helped a lot. First of all, when I joined the BCAF, it helped me. At first, I always spend my money anyhow. But through BCAF, they train me how to keep my money. They do bookkeeping for us. They gave us books so that if you go and buy the dress, you write it down. At the end, you go through it and see whether you have lost or you have gained. So, for BCAF, it tells me a lot. And when you are going to the selling side, contacts. You also get contacts on it. Because some people come far away from Accra, especially the first year. Some people came from Accra, some came from Burkina. Oh, that year it was good.
So you think it's a good initiative that must be
Yes.
How long have you been part of BCAFs?
Since BCAF just started, I was a member. And I've never failed one of their events. And out of BCAF too, I've been able to interlace with other business people. Some from Burkina Faso and some from Accra, and they are starting. Yes.
Do you think it's a good initiative that must continue?
Yes. For me, I would say it's a good initiative in the sense that it has made me myself to know what is called play. You see that? And so that is a plus. Because out of BCAF, I think I'll be able to place, and I had a fair in Gambia, and they went. Even said they have yes. So they are even said giving us invitation to come back again.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. You went to their craft village?
Yes.
Okay. The one along where you are going to the Gambia?
Yes.
Under the theme driving the economic transformation agenda of the Upper East region in the post-COVID era through arts and crafts, This year's edition promises to elevate the conversation on the industry from just providing livelihood to the people to positioning the region as the beacon of hope for small-scale businesses in Ghana. Municipal Chief Executive for the Bolgatanga Municipal Assembly, Rex Asanga, has this message for investors and businesses that will take advantage of such platforms.
When the name Bolgatanga is mentioned, everybody's mind is on the burger basket. That's the first thing, and then there's the smokes as well. So when I'm welcoming you, I'm also telling you about the burger basket, which has become an international, piece of craft that we are trying to market, internationally on the global market, and that is why the Municipal Assembly, in collaboration with Trade Aid, has been on an annual basis organizing what we call the Bolgatanga Craft and Art Fair on an annual basis. And there we are promoting the exhibition of what Bolga people can do. The handicrafts, the smokes, the weavers, young weavers, weaving very nice clothes that can even be exported to any part of the world. Besides that, we also have the culture of the people. They come to exhibit. The deer dance, for instance. Our deer dance here is very unique, and it's unlike other places. And a lot of, women come to perform, and song and dance. This region is blessed with a lot of that. Very unique, very talented, cultural events. That is what we exhibit at the Big Cup. And I want to use this opportunity to invite people from all over the country to try and participate in this. You can come and do an exhibit. You can come and exhibit your products, whatever they are. And then you can also support us. We need people who can support us, to make this annual event Big Cup a success.
For the past 23 years, the event has proven to be a one-stop shop for everything craft and art in the Upper West and surrounding regions, including the northern and savannah regions of the country. Organizers of the event, Trade Aid Integrated, used the initiative to project the positive side of the industry as the main employment source and income earner for the region apart from farming. Director for Trade Aid, Nicholas Apokera, has this to say.
We felt that we should be able to support the industry, to sustain it, so that it continues to provide livelihood for the people. We estimate that there are up to 80,000 weavers involved in this. So if you look at the region or the municipality where agricultural productivity is on the decline due to climate change issues and other issues relating to soil facility, the craft sector becomes a very good alternative source of livelihood. And so what Trade Aid has been doing over the years is how do we sustain the industry so that they continue to provide the livelihood support that is critical for the survival of the people.
So how has it been doing such a job for more than 20 years? Tell us how the experience has been for you guys.
The experience has been both great and challenging. For us, our inspiration is the fact that we get to see that some of the ideas and initiatives that we come up with is able to bring food to the table. And as a result of that, people are able to pay their medical bills, they're able to have shelter and all that. So that is good for us. That is where we get the inspiration.
However, the exhibitors are calling for more support to sustain the program and make it a flagship selling point for the region.
Government can do a lot for the basket industry. When you look at our baskets, it brings a lot of revenue to the country. When they are exporting it, they pay tax. And when government look into these things that we are doing, I think it will help us. Right now we are sitting under a tree. Should there be rain here, everybody is going to, So if there were to be a structure for us to always there, After finishing your product, you can even keep it there safely and go. The next time, if you want to organize a training, like I've gone somewhere to learn a different thing, I want to teach my my group members here, then we come. Maybe all of a sudden the rain is coming, we will not be able to learn. But if we have the structure there, it will help us.
The thing is producing here, and everybody or every house is now having a river. So we are plenty, and the market is just down. The trash to buy is a problem. You know, they export them. So by the time the trash goes in Ghana here, they are costly. So if the government will help us with the trade and then to export our business to our products, I think it will help us.
But of course there are challenges. So I mean, it's an NGO, we totally depend on donor funding. I mean, the Ghana government does not have any set aside funds for NGO work. So we mostly have to respond to donor call for proposal and partnership to be able to do the kind of things that we are doing. And that, you know, is not easy, especially with Ghana. I mean, we declare ourselves as a middle income country, you know, and that's already cut us off from some of the support that we were getting. So it has become the NGO ecosystem a bit difficult in terms of fundraising. But, you know, we are keeping heads above water. And I think that's a good thing.
Programs manager for the Bolgatanga International Craft and Art Fair, Conrad Duty, is confident that this year's event, which is slated for the 1st to the 5th of November, will be a turning point for many businesses.
This year's BCAF is different and special due to the following side attractions. The deer dance to showcase the rich culture of the people of Upper East, and then a traditional food bazaar highlighting the indigenous, rich and healthy foods of the Upper East region. And we would also have a special visit to our tourist sites such as the Paga Crocodile Pond and the Nanya Slave Camp. And so all should make it a point to be part of this year's BCAF.
And that was AM Business, brought to us courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And that'll be it for this edition of the AM Show, Benjamin.
That's it. 4 hours, we've done our bit. We're ceding our position to Aisha Ibrahim. She's about to take you on with Joy News Desk.
So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from us. Take care and do stay with us. We are your most credible news source. Good morning.